All right, so keep in mind that the CIA did conclude that the Crown Prince had approved the killing of that journalist. Brett, what do you think of the response of what we just heard in the Oval Office? What is your reaction overall to today's visit?
Well, it's very telling. If I'm reading the Crown Prince's body language, he wanted to skirt that question. The president tried to bail him out, if you noticed there. And both President Trump and the Crown Prince are avoiding the fact that a federal judge has reviewed enough evidence, credible evidence, evidence declassified from our FBI, from our CIA. Let's do that, Mr. Crown Prince. Let's look at what the FBI says. Let's look at what the CIA says, because you know what? A federal judge says that is overwhelming amount of evidence to have his country stand trial for the murder of nearly 3,000 Americans. These aren't my words. These aren't the family members' words. These are the words from a federal judge. And as far as I still know it, the United States government has 3 separate but equal branches of government. So we can watch this White House meeting today, but this is all meaningless in the face of the fact that his country, Saudi Arabia, is standing trial as we speak for the murder of my father and the murder of 3,000 Americans. And it's just, you know, and part of me gives credit to what the president had said, and part of me gives credit to what the Crown Prince has said. They're right. MBS was 15 years old on 9/11. I was 15 years old. MBS and myself are the same age. He had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. Apparently, he had absolutely nothing to do with the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. We're okay moving forward. We're okay with strong relations between Saudi Arabia and the United States, but the previous chapter needs to be finished. We need to address the fact that his country and the people, there are still people alive today that have not been held to account. Omar al-Bayoumi is one of them, the man who shot that videotape. There are still people alive today that have not had to answer these questions. These family members, myself, my family, thousands of other of us have been living a 25-year national nightmare. Let us get to the bottom of that, and let's write the next chapter. It's not MBS who we're going after. It's not the present-day Saudi Arabia who we're litigating. We're litigating the Saudi Arabia of 25 years ago.
I want to talk about that, Brett. So, you know, this recent ruling by a federal judge that Saudi Arabia must stand trial for its role in 9/11. You just mentioned it. We're nearly 2.5 decades removed now from these terrorist attacks. Do you feel like this is a step in the right direction? Do you feel like this will actually happen?
It is happening. It's not whether or not it actually will happen or not. We are going to trial. A federal judge has said unless the president somehow can usurp the power of a federal judge and overstep on the judicial branch of our government, which to this day that it hasn't been done. I think it would be a crisis if that happened. But, you know, the judicial branch of our government says we have presented enough credible evidence. And this isn't just evidence that the American people know about. This is evidence that has been buried for 24 years. The 9/11 Commission, who Saudi Arabia always resorts to as their sort of exoneration of their role. So what Saudi Arabia has done is that for years and years and years, they've always said, well, the 9/11 Commission never found any conclusive evidence, and they've always resorted to the 9/11 Commission. However, the evidence that we're presenting, the 9/11 Commission didn't have. The videotape and the B-roll that you're showing of the Capitol being filmed, the 9/11 Commission never got
Brett,
that.
I want to ask you, what is your reaction when you watch this video? Because I know that this video is tough, I think, for so many Americans to see. What is your reaction when you first saw this video, every time you see this video play?
Chilling. It's gut-wrenching. And it's to the dismay of not only just my community, but all of Americans. How many Americans signed up to go to war to fight in Iraq, thinking that Iraq was the boogeyman or thinking that Afghanistan was the boogeyman? All along, our country knew very shortly after the ties between Saudi Arabia and 9/11, they had it within 10 days. Our government had this video within 10 days. They seized it from Bayoumi's apartment. The FBI calls Bayoumi a Saudi intelligence operative. You'll notice that MBS didn't bring up the words Bayoumi today. You'll notice he didn't bring up the words Dumeri today. You'll notice that he didn't bring up the words of Ministry of Islamic Affairs. That was the element within his government that killed our fellow citizens.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.